Ever feel like the world of finance is speaking another language, especially something called Forex?
It definitely has a certain ring to it. You're not alone in thinking that.
Sounds more like a futuristic energy drink than a market, right?
Yeah, Forex can seem pretty complex from the outside,
But that's why you're here with us for this deep dive. We're breaking down a key piece of the Forex puzzle, major currency pairs.
in a way that anyone can understand.
Exactly, and it's more relevant to your life than you might think, even if you aren't an active trader.
Good.
So you've shared some really interesting material about this.
Happy to.
And today we're going to figure out exactly what these major pairs are and why they matter to, well, everyone.
Precisely. Like, we'll uncover how these pairs essentially drive the engine of the global economy.
Okay, so let's dive right in. When we talk about major pairs in Forex, it's not just some random ranking system, right?
Right.
It's more like identifying the heavyweights in a global wrestling match,
Ooh, I like that.
the ones calling the shots in the currency ring.
That's a great analogy.
Mm.
And just like in wrestling, there are rivalries and alliances at play.
Mhm.
The EUR-USD pair, for example, is like the main event, constantly vying for dominance.
It reflects the economic muscle of both the Eurozone and the US.
Exactly.
Right, it's fascinating. Over 20% of all Forex transactions happen in this pair alone.
Huge.
Think about that. If you've ever traveled to Europe or bought anything made in the Eurozone,
Practically everyone listening then.
you've indirectly participated in this market.
It's happening all around us, constantly. Now, another major pair making waves is the USD-JPY. This one's a bit of a favorite among those we call speculators, who are always looking for opportunities to profit from market swings.
They're a little more, what's the word, active.
They are. And they're particularly drawn to this pair because the Japanese yen is known to be sensitive to global economic shifts, especially anything happening in Asia.
So if things get volatile, the USD/JPY is where the action is.
100%.
Makes sense. Now, we can't forget about the GBP/USD, right? It might not be as flashy as the EUR/USD, but it's still a major contender in the currency arena.
Absolutely. The British pound has a long history of being a major player, and its performance against the U.S. dollar is, well, it's closely watched by, traders and economists alike, especially with all the recent changes in the UK's economic landscape.
Yeah, it's like the veteran wrestler who's still got some fight left in them.
Exactly.
And then there's the USD/CHF, our final major pair for today.
The big four.
This one often gets labeled as the safe haven because the Swiss franc is known for its stability.
Think of it as the Switzerland of the currency world. When things get uncertain, investors often flock to the Swiss franc, seeking a safe place to park their money.
So we've got our four major pairs, URUSD, USD/JPY, GBP/USD, and USD/CHF. They each bring their own unique flavor to the Forex table. But, some might say there's room for a few more at the main event.
Exactly. And that's where those commodity pairs come in.
Ah.
The USD CAD, AUD USD, and NZD USD.
Those names sound a little more familiar to me, honestly. What makes them stand out?
Well, the currencies in these pairs are all heavily influenced by the prices of commodities, like oil, gold, and agricultural products.
Okay, so we've got our major players, these heavyweights of the currency world.
The big movers and shakers.
But you might be wondering what makes them so major in the first place.
Good question.
Why should we care about these specific pairs?
I like to think of it like this. Imagine you're at a massive farmer's market, right? You're more likely to find, what you need quickly and at a good price if there are tons of stalls selling, say, apples. Okay.
Right.
Not so much if you're looking for, like, that rare dragon fruit.
So the major pairs are like the apples of the Forex market, abundant and easy to trade.
That's the idea, that abundance translates to high liquidity, which is one of the biggest advantages of trading major pairs. You're always going to find someone willing to buy or sell, makes transactions smooth and efficient.
And I'm guessing that's especially important for those fast-moving traders we talked about earlier, the speculators.
Absolutely. Remember that volatility in the USD-JPY pair we discussed?
Yeah.
Well, speculators thrive in those environments. And the high liquidity of major pairs allows them to, jump in and out of positions quickly, aiming to capitalize on those price swings.
Makes sense. So high liquidity is a big plus. What else makes these pairs stand out?
Well, remember how I mentioned the price of a dragon fruit might be harder to pin down at a farmer's market because it's rarer? With currencies, that difference in buying and selling price is called the spread. And major pairs, thanks to their high liquidity, generally have tighter spreads, meaning lower transaction costs for traders.
So it pays to stick with the popular kids, at least in the Forex world.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
we've got high liquidity and tight spreads. Anything else?
The third advantage is closely tied to liquidity.
Hmm.
Reduce slippage. See, in a fast-moving market, the price you see on your screen
Yeah.
isn't always the price you get when you actually execute a trade. That discrepancy where the actual execution price slips away from your target, that's called slippage,
Okay, that makes sense. It sounds like something you definitely want to avoid.
for sure. And because major pairs are so liquid, the chances of running into significant slippage are much lower. Like imagine trying to buy euros right after some major economic announcement, With Euro or USD being so widely traded, your order is more likely to be filled quickly and close to the market price, minimizing that slippage.
So you're saying that in a way, these major pairs offer a smoother, more predictable trading
You
experience,
got it.
which is something both novice and seasoned traders can appreciate.
Exactly. Predictability and stability are valuable in any market, but especially in the fast-paced world of Forex.
Okay. So we've established that major pairs are like the VIPs of the currency world.
Movers and shakers.
Highly liquid, tighter spreads, less slippage.
The gang's all here.
But how does this translate into real-world impact? We've touched upon it a little, but let's dig deeper.
Let's bring back that EUR-USD chart you shared, the one that's been a bit of a roller coaster ride lately.
Yeah.
Understanding the forces driving those fluctuations can be incredibly insightful, even if you're not, a day trader or anything.
Right. It's like having a backstage pass to the global economy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is where things get really interesting, because those price swings, they're not random. They're influenced by this complex interplay of economic indicators, geopolitical events, even just market sentiment, what people are feeling.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about the stories behind the numbers.
100%. Remember how we said the Japanese yen is sensitive to global economic shifts? Well, your research actually highlights a recent example of this. The article about the U.S.-China trade deal negotiations, remember that one?
Oh, right, yeah. It mentioned that the uncertainty surrounding the deal actually caused the yen to strengthen against the US dollar.
Exactly. Investors often see the yen as a safe haven during times of geopolitical tension.
Makes sense.
They pull money out of what they perceive as riskier assets, like those tied to emerging markets, and park it in those more stable currencies, like our friend the yen.
So it's a chain reaction.
Totally.
Global events trigger these shifts in the currency market, which then ripple out and impact everything, from import prices to the cost of your next vacation.
It's all connected. And understanding these major pairs gives you a framework for making sense of those connections. Remember when we talked about the euro and how a strong euro can make your trip to Europe more expensive?
Yeah, definitely not ideal for my travel budget.
Right. Well, that same principle applies to businesses that import or export goods. Let's say you're a business owner importing, I don't know, electronics from Japan. A strong yen could really eat into your profit margins. Right?
Makes sense. You're paying more in dollars for the same amount of yen.
Exactly. But on the flip side, a weaker yen could be an opportunity to negotiate better prices with your Japanese suppliers. It's all about, understanding those currency fluctuations and how they impact the bottom line.
It's like having a secret weapon in the global marketplace. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from feeling intimidated by the term Forex to understanding how these major currency pairs work and why they matter, not just for traders, but for anyone who participates in the global economy, which is, well, basically all of us.
That's it. And the beauty of it is that this deep dive, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. The more you kind of pay attention to these currency movements, the more you'll start to see those connections everywhere.
It's like you've unlocked a new level of understanding the world.
Totally. It's about developing that global awareness
Yeah.
and realizing that even though we might not be, trading currencies every day, we're all part of this intricate, interconnected system.
Absolutely. So as we wrap things up, here's a little challenge for you listening. Next time you catch the news or read an article about the global economy, see if you can spot any mentions of those major pairs we discussed. What's happening with the euro, the yen, the pound, the Swiss franc? Are they strong? Are they weakening? And what could that mean for you, your business, even the global economy as a whole?
It's all about asking those questions, and connecting those dots. Remember, knowledge is power. And an understanding the language of the Forex market gives you a real edge in navigating our increasingly interconnected world. Keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, you might even find yourself enjoying the world of Forex.